Today on the market, we see a situation we've never seen before in history. This is an uncharted territory for everyone. If you are into economics and investing, this is super interesting times. In context of the global situation, I will explain to you if it's a good time to buy gold right now. Some people are asking if it's maybe too late to buy gold and how much longer can the gold price continue to rise. All of this you will learn in today's video. So let's go straight into that. Unfortunately, there is no exact science when knowing the best time to buy gold, but there are lots of effective and timeless techniques and indicators that most successful investors use. When looking to buy gold, it is important to recognize that gold is in a long-term upward trend where prices have been increasing for years. You may wonder, why is this happening? Gold is an asset with limited supply, contrary to fiat money. That's why its price is constantly rising. So I know most of the people want to make money quick, but buying gold should not be seen as a short-term investment like 3 or 6 months. It should be perceived as a long-term asset. By long-term, I mean, let's say 5 years. And if you bought a gold, let's say half year ago, you may wonder if it was a good investment. You lost some money already. Maybe not as much as on crypto, but... So let me explain. So first of all, it's worth considering what influences the long-term price of gold. Most people think that gold is a hedge against inflation, and this is bullshit. So when we have real negative interest rates, gold is rising. What does the term real negative interest rates mean? It can be kinda difficult, but bear with me, I will explain to you everything. For example, inflation is 9%. Interest rates are 3%. It means that real interest rate is minus 6%. Inflation is higher than interest rates, so your money loses its value. On this chart, we can see that the Fed was always trying to keep interest rates on a similar level as inflation. It allows the Fed to control inflation, but something has changed in the last 2 years. Inflation is rapidly rising, but interest rates are kept low. That's kinda weird, right? What's wrong? What's happening? Look at this chart. Current interest rates are the lowest in history. For the first time, we face a situation in which the Fed doesn't decide to raise interest rates. And I assume that this move could be, unfortunately, impossible. The Fed is well aware of that. So rising interest rates would crash markets and cause a world crisis. I told you at the very beginning that in environment of low interest rates, gold should thrive, right? But it isn't. Let me explain why. It's kinda easy. In March, the Fed announced a plan of rising interest rates. This was a signal for financial markets that the government is starting to fight inflation. This made investors become very careful with their money. If the Fed will start fighting inflation, interest rates will go higher, and this isn't good for gold prices. As we can see on the following chart, the Fed started rising interest rates in March. In the same time, the price of gold was tanking. The price of gold was falling down. On this chart, we can see interest rates and gold correlation in the last 50 years. When we had real negative interest rates, price of gold was in an uptrend. When we had positive real interest rates, gold price was falling. How to explain this correlation? Again, it's simple. So basically, in an environment of real positive interest rates, it's better to keep currency than to invest in gold. Let's say inflation is 2%, right? Interest rate is 3%. So when you deposit your money in the bank, you get 3% on your investment. That is 1% more than inflation. You just beat the inflation and earned 1%. That's why it doesn't make sense to buy gold in this situation. By holding money in our account, we keep our money purchasing power. When we have real negative interest rates, the borrowing rate in banks is lower than inflation. That's why people search for investments that will let them at least keep money purchasing power. That's why it's a perfect time to buy gold. Gold is an asset with limited supply and yearly 1 or 2% inflation. It is impossible possible to mine more gold, so this inflation won't ever get higher. So when is a good time to invest in gold? We don't have a crystal ball, at least I don't, so we can't be sure 100%. But we know that the price of gold is rising when interest rates are negative. So we should basically wait until Fed will stop rising interest rates. If inflation stays at current levels and let's say Fed announces the end of interest rate hikes or even lowering interest rates, we would have perfect condition for investing in gold. So high inflation and lowering interest rates are theoretically a buy signal for gold. So if inflation is rising, interest rates plateau, the Fed decides to start printing money again, and if there are still problems in the world, such as lockdowns or war. So in result of all these things happening, real negative interest rate will keep falling, and this means investors will invest in gold again. We have to very carefully listen to Fed announcements. Is it the end of rising interest rates? Or maybe it's just the beginning. For now, we don't really know. So gold is waiting for the right circumstances to start rising again. What is technical analysis telling us? On a weekly time frame, we can see that the price reached a flat correction in a bigger uptrend. In the last 3 weeks, we can also see a strong demand. We can assume that the market is expecting a trend reversal in a short period of time. Or this actually can be also a bull trap. This is very probable. For now, we don't see a confirmation of the end of this correction, but we can say that the market is ready for the next strong move up. We have a few signals for that assumption, one of them being divergence RSI, flat correction, A, B, and C. A strong demand reaction. 3 green candles on the chart in the last 3 weeks. But you know, I observed that investors still want to wait for what the Fed is planning to do. To summarize, gold theoretically can anytime soon come back to an uptrend, but a lot depends on the coming decisions of the Fed. If all comes together in a good way for gold, we may see a price reach even $3,000 or $3,500. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, comment, give us some thumbs up, and see you in the next video. Bye.